Hey, what's up? It's Holden. It's Mangone. It's DC. Somewhere Joey Work is back. I wish Joey Work would hop on the show. He is just behind. He's like the Wizard of Oz. He's behind the curtain right now. And I actually think that his analysis from the betting side is going to help us on the DFS side, but he doesn't want that type of pressure today. So that's all right, Joey Work. We got him back there. Mangone, Draft Cheat. Just love your new background. Looking terrific. Big fan of that. What's going on, pal?
Not a lot. Happy to be here. Kind of a weird baseball day, right? The DraftKings slate starts an hour earlier than normal with kind of an island game with the Reds and the Indians. So yeah, we're here an hour earlier than we typically would be, but same great analysis. And Holden, a credit to you showing up on a Monday to work, man. That must be rough.
Yeah, decided to show up on. Well, I tell you something. We got this NFL right around the corner. You better believe we got some Monday stuff. That's the Monday off is over. NFL right around the corner. And for those of you just joining us, let me get to Mangone first. I don't want to leave him out, and then we'll get to the whole spiel. But hello, Mangone. 5 games? Is that all we got? 6? It's gross.
Well, kind of. I mean, FanDuel, that starts at 8. That's only like 4 games, and then it could be 3 with the weather. Mondays, you're back, Holden. I was actually going to mention that. You're working on a Monday. Congrats. DC, football's coming around the corner. You're going to be busy on a Monday with Monday Night Football on your Booger McFarland Twitter account, so be ready. Mondays, they're a day to work now. They're not a day to really relax. Football's right around the corner, guys.
Yeah, I'll have to get into the writing studio to write my jokes for Monday night.
So the question, what are you talking about? Do you have a burner, a Booger burner account?
Usually on Monday Night Football, I change I do it on my account, but I change my Twitter name to Booger McFarland. I change my Twitter picture to him, and then I tweet as him. But it was much better when he was also announcing the game. And also Twitter's much more ban happy these days. This was a couple years ago when I was kind of really in my heyday on Twitter. So we'll see. I'm a little worried about getting banned, but it hasn't happened yet.
What happened? What do you mean your heyday on Twitter? Has it gone to hell? What are you talking about?
No, the Booger McFarland heyday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, then you missed the good old days when DC would just like impersonate different people and like eat like, I don't know, for instance, like maybe DC would act like Big T, change his Twitter profile picture, make his name Big T, and then he'd be like Taysom Hill sucks, and like people are like liking it and commenting, thinking it's Big T, and everyone's laughing. That's just a small thing he would do, but there's many different things that he would do that were very.
He'll be back for football. It's better with football because it's like you can't do it during a baseball game because not enough people are watching it. But if it's like Monday Night Football, all of my audience is watching Monday Night Football, right? So it works much better.
I like it.
I think a Big T impersonation is a good thing to do because you won't get in trouble for that, right? Like he's not going to go and report you. I
would hope not.
Brittany J in the chat. We thought we were getting Big T and JSU. Well, you're not. What you're doing is you're making DC and Mangone feel bad. So that's a little disappointing. I think that these guys are spectacular at what they do. I use DC's core. I don't play cash anymore, but trust me, I played cash.
Let me interrupt, Holden. That's on you, Brittany. I mean, we sent the graphic out on the Run Pure Sports Twitter account. Big T's mug wasn't there. DC's mug wasn't there. Why did you think you were getting them? I mean, that's all. Maybe you are expected it normally, but it is a bit of a different week. We talked a little bit about how Simon is going to be out this week, and it's going to be a bit of a different week. So, Brittany, I know you tune into a lot of shows. Love having you here, but I think that's on you this time. Sorry.
Brittany, it's hurtful. Somebody said the only one we don't want is Darth Anger. You're a funny man. And don't make fun of Brittany. I was just saying, I'm just trying to make a point here. Okay. And what was the other? There was one other thing I wanted to do. It's Uncle T. He's back in here, basically whacking off to umpires. It's enough, Uncle T. Sit back, enjoy the ride. You don't need to be a part of this. Everything's fine. Get a mustache ride, and then we're done. Now, RPS NFL 15. NFL 15. Here's why this promo is cool. Because, listen, the normal promos are cool because we give you like 20% off your first month, 15% off your first month. This is absolute lockdown, 15% off for the life of your subscription. You know, you die next year, all right, it's over. But if we're around in 30 years, you got 15% off, 15% off for the life of your subscription. RPS NFL 15. Mangone, I'm pretty sure we're doing the cash show again. I hope we are. That was a really fun show last year. NFL is the one sport I'll play a little bit of cash in. DC, you weren't around here last year for NFL. I'm excited to be working with you for NFL too. We had you to the team. Tambo's on the team. It's only gotten bigger. And a lot of you didn't see probably, I mean, you're a lot of new subscribers, didn't see some of our things from last year. It's ridiculous. We're going to have shows every single day, especially Monday through Friday, articles, and not only on our side, not only on the sports side, the bet side. Again, I wish Joey Work was going to come out, but I think he's doing his actual job. The bet side is spectacular too. If you're already a subscriber, get bets. It's going to get you that code's going to get you the bet side. Joey's still doing his baseball. JJ's over there, Spread, Tyler, Keg, all of them are doing their stuff. And then once the NFL comes around, the bet sheet is just ridiculously packed. And the last thing about that is there's a lot of places out there, these touts, they're going to give you your picks. The difference between our place and those places is our bettors actually track their picks. So they can't come on and say, oh, you know, I'm 97-1, up 1 billion units. No, you see exactly where they are, and all our guys are up. So that's all I could say. RPS NFL 15. I mean, we got an hour to talk about 5 games. So if you want to discuss what happened this weekend, I'm happy to do that, boys. But let's see here. Let's see. All good. Draft cheat is solid. And Mangone is good too.
I want to stick up for my boy Uncle T in the chat, by the way. Uncle T, because one, he's my boy, and that was very hurtful to attack him. 2, he's just trying to give the info. He's trying to let us know that Bill Miller is in Kansas City. It's an extreme pitchers umpire, and this is where I just pass it over to Draft Cheat to talk about strikeout zone percentages, sticky stuff, pitching analytics, whatever he wants to talk about with Bill Miller being on the mound. I think it's helpful for us here, DC, especially if the Yankees are chalk, right?
Yeah, that game's an interesting one in Kansas City. Normally, you know, it's one of the better pitchers' parks out there. I don't know if it's going to play like that today. 93 degrees, humid, wind blowing out to left center field. So you see a big total on the Yankees, right? They're sitting at 5.7, the second highest on this short baseball slate. I think, you know, diving into pitching a little bit, I think Carlos Hernandez is kind of interesting, just kind of as a way off the board pitcher, right? You're not touching him unless it's a GPP, but he's been pretty good his last couple starts, throws super hard. So he's somewhat interesting, and, you know, a good pitcher's umpire can only help. And then, yeah, Jamison Tyon, same thing. Really good pitching options today overall, and aided by, you know, an umpire that's going to call a lot of strikes. That helps a guy like Tyon, who's kind of more of a command and a velocity guy. So, yeah, interesting stuff there.
Cheese Delgado's on the bet side saying he likes the Hernandez strikeout prop. I think it was over 4.5.
Yeah, I like it too. A lot of strikeouts in the Yankees lineup, right? I mean, Judge, Gallo, Stanton, Luke Voigt, Odor, you know, I mean, up and down that lineup you can get strikeouts, and Hernandez got strikeout stuff. So I do like that bet too.
Good job getting into the hardcore baseball talk an hour before the slate starts, Mangone. Congratulations, buddy.
We can easily shift away. I mean, I'm perfectly fine to talk about.
We can move in and out. We don't have to do it all at once and then, you know, shift the other way.
Just chunk it up. We'll start with pitching, and then we could talk about Mangone's weekend.
It's free flowing.
I like it.
I don't know. My weekend may have been boring, but sure.
Was it really? You didn't do anything?
No, I grinded DFS. I think it was a boring weekend, for one of the more boring weekends I've had this summer, I would say.
Really?
I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't know.
No girls.
No, I went to a bonfire Saturday night. We burned a dresser. That was kind of cool.
Time out. Now we got into something interesting. Okay, so you're at a bonfire with a dresser.
Yeah, so my friend is, you know, he's got some property, so he just has a bunch of, we get pallets sometimes. If anyone has any furniture they're getting rid of, I had a dresser I didn't want anymore, so we took my friend's pickup, we drove it over there, and we lit it on fire. You know, stacked up the drawers, pallets. It's a good time, Holden. I mean, you're bored doing nothing. I was watching baseball. I was watching the Rays hit home runs on my phone while we were just burning stuff. It was a good time.
Yeah, that was definitely not a boring weekend. Like anytime, if I could throw household stuff in a fire and stand there and burn it, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's a fun time.
Yeah. Would you throw any gas cans in there or anything to make an explosion?
That hard. Of course, people were drinking as well. Having some adult beverages, which are things you like to see. I don't know if there were any edibles consumed, Holden, but if you were there, I'm sure you would have.
I would not eat edibles around a bonfire. It would be too easy to fall in. And Madness DFS says that's the most Wisconsin shit I've ever heard. I didn't know they had pickup trucks in Jersey.
I'm not in Wisconsin, but I'm in Jersey. I guess people do drive pickups, but you're right. It's not pickup truck country.
It's not pickup truck country. What's DC? How'd it go? What happened this weekend? Was it a lot of DFS? Was there any crazy times? What happened, man?
Yeah, we had UFC on Saturday, so that's always a good time. I actually missed some of that. I was at a kid's birthday party. We went to Urban Air, which is like a trampoline park. You got a bunch of games there. So it had been a while since I had indulged in the trampoline jumping and the flips, and gotta say, I was a little sore yesterday from too much time on the trampolines, but recovered now, good to go.
That'll mess you up. Seriously, that messes you up. Imagine cow tipping, Travis Mangone. Dude, I've cow tipped. It was fun. Oh, it was fun. Yeah, I was like 13.
I did golf this weekend, and I played pretty well. I've been trying to get back in the streets, and I mean, good for myself, right? I'm no Big T or Uncle T, but I had a pretty good golf round.
Yeah, you should judge. You judge it against yourself. That's the only thing.
It was a really good round for me. I was very happy. I'm still working. I'm still. My goal is by the time we do have this RPS event, whenever we do go golfing, I want to be pretty good. I don't want to embarrass myself. I want to make sure I'm decent. So that's the goal. We're working.
The RPS Open is happening, by the way.
I don't know when. It is definitely.
I don't know, but I'm just saying it's happening at some point.
Where? That's the question. The question is, where could we actually
I'm looking to visit Kentucky. I've never been to Kentucky. I want to visit. I want to go see the knee house group in Kentucky. So that's my vote.
I think Kentucky on a football weekend is a good call because we don't need to live it extravagantly, right? We just need some drinks, a golf course, cheap living, right? We don't need to be at like some Vegas hotel where then we can't play DFS. We got to drive to the border. We want to be able to play DFS too. Also, Big T is close enough where if you want to place a legal sports bet, you can make a 45-minute drive. So
that's horrible.
It's a little bit of a hike, but it's there.
You want us to go to a place to drive 45 minutes to bet?
It might not be 45. It might be 30. But I'm just saying, if you want the option, it is there. It's a nice central location for everyone to fly to. It's not like it's Jersey. It's central for our RPS guys, right? The Colorado ones, AP. No. It makes sense. Central.
It's not ideal, but it's good to have the option.
Ireland. If half our crew is in Ireland, then Kentucky would be central. But it's not central.
Well, what's central then for us? I mean,
there's no. I would say it's probably Denver.
Denver's not. That's not central.
We're just trying to get people to come to you.
In California, don't we have somebody in California? That's big. Yeah, spread's in California.
That's one of like I don't know how many. Like
so, basically, you're saying spread doesn't matter. Spread doesn't matter.
Spread matters. He's the outlier, right? That's he's the outlier.
All right. Yes, like S Quad says, like the video. These guys have to put food on the table. Big T just disinvited me to the golf tournament. I will not use his term. That is hurtful. We do have some RPS terms, though, that people have uncovered. That is hurtful and mojo. These are the two things that we got tonight. Imagine actually recommending going to the state of Kentucky to go on vacation and play golf. I just, DC, are you there? Are you with him on this? Are you with Mangone on this?
No, I was the first one to suggest it. Absolutely.
Oh, that's even worse.
Listen, I'm a simple man. And like Mangone said, like driving 45 minutes to make a sports bet isn't ideal, but it's still nice to have the option. You see a line that you really like, you're in the bets Discord, JJ's giving it out, Keg's giving it out, you need to make the bet, or you realize you're expecting value. Right? Maybe a group trip to the border has to happen. So
there's a casino. We can take a group night to the casino. Yep. There's a lot of options. And Holden, home is where the heart is, right? And my heart is with RPS. So wherever I am, Kentucky, Ireland, Japan, if I'm with the RPS crew, I'm going to be happy.
You better, hey, Uncle T, you're talking some shit today. You better hope that I don't show up and crash this golf thing because I'll tell you, I'll roofie your ass and I'll shave your mustache. And don't think I'm kidding. I'll leave the shank at home. Roofies and razors coming at you, buddy. It's going to be amazing. The Bumpster, yes, we've used an offshore book. It's a lot easier to use the legal one. Time to get into the baseball slate today. So the weather, a little bit gross in Cleveland. Not too worried about that. Raining in Chicago. Not too worried about either one of these games, to be honest with you. And then we got some nice winds blowing out in Cleveland when they play that game. We got a little wind blowing out to left field at 10 miles an hour, with a little bit of gusts in Kansas City with the Yankees and the Royals. And it's just a 5-game slate. So not a big slate tonight. Let's get into pitching. Who did we discuss? Carlos Hernandez already tonight. And Hernandez is coming off a couple of monster starts against the White Sox. 22 DK points in both starts, 6 Ks, 4 Ks. Let's get into him a little bit more, Mangone. Carlos Hernandez, what's the exposure to him tonight? Do you agree that he should be rostered tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can make a case for him to be rostered tonight, Holden. One way that I'm kind of approaching this slate, it's a 5-game slate, and it could be a 4-game slate with the weather. I'm kind of fading the first game right now. Nothing against those guys, but I like the idea of seeing how the slate plays out, seeing if like maybe some chalkier options do poorly. Also think that there's opportunities later on where, let's say some chalk is doing well, right? And like, I feel like I'm behind to start. Like I can go to a Carlos Hernandez and attack these Yankees bats that could be pretty chalky. And if they do really poorly and Hernandez gets to them, well, I'm just going to jump all those teams. So I think there's a lot of game theory to be had on this slate. This could be also, if you're playing on FanDuel, it could end up turning into a 3-game slate. And the lesser the games on the slate, the better it is game theory wise. So that's some of the things that I'm looking at. And Hernandez and the pitching spot, the umpire, I love the spot here. So that's kind of what I'm looking at.
What do you like about this there, DC? What do you like about Hernandez in particular?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would, just to walk it back a little bit. Like, I don't think Hernandez is the number one option on this slate by any means. I mean, I've got him listed 6th, right, in the playbook. If you're a premium member, that's up right now. The Yankees have a 5.7 team total for a reason, right? I mean, a great offense, obviously, with the additions. I guess Rizzo's out with COVID, but with Gallo in there. And Hernandez, like outside of these last 2 starts, he really hasn't been that good. But you look at what he can do, right? He's throwing 97, 98, throwing a lot of strikes. He's got 4 pitches. He has the arsenal to succeed. I don't think it's that likely that he does. More of a tournament option. I think Mangone kind of nailed it. Like if you fall behind early, if you don't play Luis Castillo in that early game, I really like him against Cleveland, and he goes off. At least you got a chance with Hernandez later. So, and maybe you can swap off Yankee bats, or it's just a good game theory slate for a 5-gamer. You do need to think about roster construction. At the top end though, some very strong options. Normally on these small slates, there's only 1 or 2 pitchers that you really feel comfortable rostering. This one, the top 5 pitches, I all think are all pretty good plays. I mean, Freddie Peralta against the Cubs, who traded away Bryant, Rizzo, and Javier Baez. Peralta, they kind of scaled him back a little bit a couple starts ago. They're worried about his innings, but he was back up to 98 pitches, I think. 98 pitches in his last start, so he should be good to go. I don't think they're going to do that again. Chicago, huge strikeout rate, so Peralta's great play if that weather holds in Chicago. We do have to monitor that. Luis Castillo to kick it off. I think I might be a little bit higher on him than Mangone is. He's been awesome. He started off the year April, May. He was just brutal. I think he had an ERA over 7 in those 2 months, but he's been lights out in these last few starts. 10 starts in a row where his lowest pitch count in any of those starts was 99. So you're going to get the volume, the duration from Luis Castillo. I think he's an awesome option. And then, Jameson Taillon kind of quietly, he won American League Pitcher of the Month in July. He's been fantastic too. He gets the good umpire we talked about in that KC Yankees game. Good matchup against KC. So I think Taillon at 7,800 on DraftKings is awesome. Musgrove against Miami at home. I mean, that's a good way to go. And then I have Giolito 5th among those guys, but he's a pretty good option too against a Minnesota team that isn't hitting super well right now. So I have Peralta, Castillo as 1 and 2, but if you need the savings, no problem going down to Musgrove, Taillon especially. Hernandez is a GPP guy, and then Giolito I think can play as well.
All right, so let's go through this here, Mangone. And shout out to our newest member, Philip Brownbridge. Good to see you in the chat, man. It's great. I hope you used RPS NFL 15 for 15% off the life of your subscription. Also, I don't have the YouTube up. No idea how many likes we got. if you want to hit the like button, I recommend it, but it's not like you have to. You just do it if you're a good person. So Luis Castillo, Mangone. Let's talk about Luis Castillo. Yes, no, maybe so.
Yeah, he's a good option, right? He's definitely in play on this slate. I'm not ignoring him. If I was, playing the cash routes, I'm playing tournaments today. If I was playing cash, Castillo would be up there. I think Musgrove is my number one right now. Castillo's definitely up there as like 2, right there with Giolito or Tyon, right? They're all in.
Real quick, is this cash or GPP?
Yeah, I'd say like cash, right? I'm just telling you, hold on. I'm fading the first game. And I'm just going to figure out what happens after after lock, because we have a Brewers game that we don't know what's going to happen weather-wise. Now, what if this Brewers game is risky enough where I think it's worth taking a shot? All day, everyone's been like, oh, this game's not going to play. This game's not going to play. Well, what if it does play, Holden? Well, if it does, I might get the Brewers at a very low ownership percentage because people haven't been planning for it. So I just think there's a lot of value in watching the slate for the first couple hours and seeing how some things develop. And now if someone breaks the slate for 3 home runs, let's say, I don't know, like Nick Castellanos goes for 3 home runs. It's fine. I'm okay with it. I can find ways to adjust. I can find ways to get a little bit more different to try and somehow play some catch up. Now it's going to be hard to catch up on 3 home runs, but you get what I'm saying. I just think that this is a good game to use a lot of game theory. And there's a lot of guys later on that I do like. There's a lot of opportunities to take advantage of later on. And I really do think that a guy like Musgrove is the best pitcher. I think he's better than Castillo today. So that's why I'm going that route. If you want to go at Castillo and you want to go a Musgrove, that's perfectly fine. You can also go the other way and maybe play both pitchers from the first game and then figure out your bats later on. If you have like 25 plus fantasy points from all of your pitchers, then you could eat a lot more chalk if you think that those guys are under own. Let's say they're both at like 10% or below, those pitchers. You can then eat more chalk. Or if they're like 60% guys, then maybe you have to get a little bit different. There's just a lot of game theory that can be played on this slate, and that's how I'm approaching it. There are guys that I can talk about later on, but I'd say Musgrove is my number one. And one of the contrarian guys I'm definitely looking at are the 2 guys in the Bill Miller game, Tyon and Hernandez.
I mean, that's my guy right there is Tyon. So I feel like he's not getting talked about enough. His last 6 starts, he's completely turned things around, but this Kansas City team does not strike out very much. I mean, 22% compared to some of the other ones. But DC, when you look at Tyon, do we even care about that at this point? Like the matchup is not ideal for strikeouts, but he's just been on a roll. Like he's finally living up to the potential that we thought he was going to have in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that game's kind of the most interesting one to me. I could see it going, a number of different directions. Clearly, bettors and Vegas are kind of expecting a shootout here. I mean, a team total of 10 in Kauffman Stadium is pretty rare, especially when you add in the fact that, Tyon's been excellent, like we said, and Carlos Hernandez has been good these last 2 starts too. So you don't often see that. Clearly, they think the weather is going to play a big factor and the balls are really going to be flying in Kansas City. I wrote up in the playbook, I think the Yankees are clearly the biggest boom-bust stack on this slate. Like I could see them just teeing off, hitting 5, 6, 7 home runs. Or Carlos Hernandez and, his rocket arm, he has a really, really good arm, could shut them down. Kind of the same thing with Tyon and the Royals. So, yeah, I think Tyon, if he's going to be low owned, I don't know for sure. I think he will be a little bit just because of the Royals have a relatively healthy team total, 4.3 right now. Yeah, Tyon at 7,800 I think is a great play if he's going to end up being lower owned. He could certainly get the job done, especially with the great umpire. So it's kind of like which do you weigh more, the good pitchers umpire there or the amazing hitting weather, right? So kind of 2 opposing factors at play there.
All right. Because I kind of like going up to Peralta. Peralta.
Holden, is that game going to play? That's the problem. Like that's something you have to calculate into it a little bit. Like a lot of that ownership could go in other spots, right? Like I don't know if that game is really going to play.
Yeah, looking at the radar right now in Chicago, there's no weather at all at the moment. That game does not start for 2.5 hours still.
Yeah, it's a tornado watch till 10 p.m. I believe.
You can see on the radar like the storm forming, out. It's north and west of the city at the moment. It does look like it's going to get there at some point. I just don't know, how long it's going to last. That's kind of hard. The future radar doesn't look super great. It's just really, really hard to say at this point. Sometimes you can kind of tell, right? If it's like raining and you can see it's going to clear up later. This isn't one of those scenarios. We just don't know how big that storm's going to be and how long it's going to sit over the city.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they do have tornado watch, which is never really a comfortable thing.
I mean, it happens all the time in the Midwest, but
yeah, weather.gov has this ending by 9:00. Yesterday they played through the rain, and I just want to remind everybody, this coming from a guy that grew up going to Wrigley every freaking week. The weather there changes like this. Like you could have the wind blowing in at 30 miles an hour with something coming in off the lake. 5 minutes later, it goes the other way. So go at your, you know what? I'll say this again. Go at your own risk with it. Like if that is too much, if that rain out there is too much to handle, just fade it.
Sure.
But that's
I'm not worried about it.
That's why
I will go that direction.
Holden, right? I think there's just value in that. It sounds like a lame answer, but I don't see a lot in the early game that I love. I guess Castillo could break the slate. I understand.
Just to state it, I don't think there's other good pitchers too, right? Castillo would really, really have to go off where he couldn't be matched by the other guys. Just to stay in Chicago in that weather discussion a little bit, like this won't be a storm that they play through. Like when it's over the city, it will be delayed because it's going to be raining hard. But it might not ever get there. There's that chance, and then even if it does, it could blow over eventually, and then they play afterward. Also, like you said, the weather could change, but right now, if it does play, I mean, it's a Wrigley wind game, right? We haven't said that yet, but it's projected to be in the lower 80s with 80% humidity and 13-mile-per-hour wind blowing out to left field. We know what happens in Wrigley when you have those types of conditions. So,
and when can you possibly get it under-owned, right? Like, not saying it's going to be under-owned on the slate for sure, but people are worried about it. Also, I can look, like, I just pulled up ownership percentages, right, for the early game. Jose Ramirez is going to be, it says 36%. He's probably going to be the highest owned third baseman more than likely. So what if he busts, right? Now I know I have knowledge of what's happened so far in the contest, and I can attack it in different ways. If he completely busts, and I think third base is really bad, well, now maybe I can punt it all the way, right? There's just different ways that you can approach the contest with watching the first game and how it plays out. Now, if you have confidence, I think Castillo's a great play, go for it. Then yeah, go for it. But I think there's other guys like DC said later on that can match them, and I'm okay with it. And I don't fear these offenses. Now, of course, do I fear the Reds a little bit? Yeah, they're a great team. But I do think the one thing the Indians are going to do a little bit today is they are going to be able to pick their spots and pick which pitchers they pitch against some of their better options, which it's kind of a bullpen game in that way, right? And when you get that kind of game, you can pick which pitchers you want to have against the better hitters, and that's different, right? If you have a pitcher that goes out there like Ryu yesterday, where the bullpen's taxed, Ryu just kept pitching because they're like, listen, dude, we need you to pitch. We don't have a bullpen. And he just keeps getting shelled over and over. And those are things that I'm looking at and why I think there's just better opportunities later on. Like I can attack the Marlins bullpen later. I know the ballpark isn't sexy, but the Marlins bullpen's not that good. If Zach Thompson gets killed, like that bullpen's going to get destroyed, and guys like Manny Machado can get to anyone. So I'm perfectly fine with the Padres later on. And I just think they're a later contrarian stack that I can get on.
Hoop is in the chat. What's up, Hoopage? What is up, man? It's good to see you in there. Who else are we seeing here? Derek, Ring, Steve Anthony. I'm sure Jay Reed's in here somewhere. It's great to see all you guys in here. We'll continue the pitching conversation. Just do want to remind everybody, this is a free show, so I'll continue to, you want to hit the like button. I don't give a damn at this point. What I do want to tell you is that the NFL is coming up. You know this, and you better sign up. You know our success, the track record in the NBA. Smashing it in MLB. Look at these two guys right here. I mean, yeah, we want Big T and JSU. Yeah, those guys are amazing too. These guys are amazing too, whether you play cash or GPPs. So NFL's coming up. You sign up today, you get the next month of baseball, and then you get, when NFL starts, 15% off for the life of your subscription. 15% off RPS NFL 15. Okay. So what else do we have here for pitching that we need to get into? Because DC, listening to both you guys, doesn't seem like Peralta's at the top then. Would that be accurate just because of the weather, or do we roster Peralta?
No, I mean, I listed Peralta number one as my number one pitcher. Obviously it's weather permitting. We'll see. With Chicago, we just can't say 2.5 hours beforehand. You're going to have to monitor that. I mean, you can say, oh, you want to risk it or you're not. Well, we'll have a lot better idea of whether or not to risk it in 2.5 hours is kind of the key point I would make there. So we'll be discussing that in Discord and kind of making a final call as we approach lock for that game. But yeah, Peralta's he's been awesome this season, and there's some risk that, they kind of shorten his outing as they're trying to manage his innings, but the matchup's just so good against Chicago, who I know they have a relatively, I wouldn't say high total, 3.7, much higher than the Marlins. I mean, the Marlins have a team total sitting at 2.8, so you will see a lot of people go to Joe Musgrove for that reason. I can't really argue with that, but so many strikeouts to be had in the Chicago lineup. I mean, you got Ian Happ hitting third, right? What does he have, like a 35% strikeout rate? He's hitting like 170 on the year. That's the best guy that they can put in the 3-hole. Their fifth hitter is Greg Deichmann, Frank Schwindel, Andrew Romine, and Sergio Alcantara in the pitcher.
You don't like Deichmann?
What's that?
You don't like Deichmann?
I don't know much about him. Do you know a lot about him?
Not that good.
Please enlighten me. Yeah, I don't know.
Not that good.
No, I don't think so either. So, I mean, it's 9 good matchups, frankly, for Freddie Peralta. If he's on his game, he can just mow this team down. He could strike out 13 guys here. I think that's absolutely within the realm of possibility for Peralta. So we'll have to monitor the weather. If it plays, though, I'm not really worried about the wind blowing out for Freddie Peralta, because I think he's just going to mow these guys down. It doesn't really matter where the wind's blowing if you're just swinging and missing and striking out every time. So yeah, I'm definitely in on Peralta here, if again, weather permitting.
I'll say it again. We saw it yesterday, and that game went way over. But the wind was blowing out the first few innings of the game, and pop flies were going out to center field. And then you go look at the box score around the 4th or 5th inning, it went away. And the wind started swirling, and it was blowing across the field, and it was blowing in. So you get Wrigley wind games. I think it's different at night, personally. I think during the day, you'll see the wind continue to blow out. But
yeah, that's fair.
Very volatile at night. So just anybody that says, oh, the wind's blowing out, it's not going to blow out the whole game. But you can do a lot of damage in the 2, 3, 4 innings if that's what you see. You can do a lot of damage then. So let's go through the tiers of pitchers then one more time, Mangone. Who's in the pool tonight? You know what? Who's not in the pool? And then who's 1 and 2?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say for me, Musgrove is definitely my 1, right? For me, Castillo's not in my pool, not because he's not a good play. I'm not playing him. I'm not playing Sam Hentges. I don't know how to say his name. The Cleveland pitcher. I'm just not playing the early pitchers. I'd say my favorite guys are Musgrove. I would say Taillon, and then probably Hernandez right now. Like, those are my 3. And I'm also kind of right now crossing off Peralta. Now, if Peralta becomes in play, then yeah, he'll join back in, and I'll probably throw him up there above Taillon, right? He'll be up there with Musgrove, and I'll have to make a decision based on those 2. But again, I need to get the weather on that. So that's kind of my breakdown. Those are like the 4 guys that I'm currently keying in.
I like it, Mangone. Let's go, DC. Let's do it. So Peralta, who is not going to even be rostered tonight, and then who's your guys?
Yeah, no Hentges, no Mills, no Charlie Barnes, or no Twins pitcher, basically. I'm not playing Thompson either, but I think he on a different slate maybe. So yeah, I'm going with Peralta and Castillo in the cores. I'll start it off with Castillo. I got a lot of faith in him. I know. I totally get Mangone's argument with the strategy and kind of waiting to see what happens and pivoting from there. Makes perfect sense. I just have a lot of faith in Castillo. And yeah, Musgrove, I mean, I think on paper, probably the top play, right? If you just look at who he's facing, massive total. He's like minus 270 here. I totally get it. I just have less faith in Musgrove, the pitcher, than Castillo. So that's the direction I'm going. But I do think you'll see – I think Musgrove will be the highest owned pitcher on this slate. Mangone, you agree with that?
Yeah, I believe so. And also, like, let's say Castillo comes in.
I'm not certain about that, but he would be my pick for highest owned pitcher.
Yeah, that's my pick too. And like, again, you can watch Castillo and see how he does, and if he does well, like, now you're like, okay, I have a really good pitcher. Maybe I don't need. Maybe you were building lineups earlier and you really liked a spend up for one pitcher and a spend down route. And if Castillo does well, now you can just go, okay, I like that route for my bats. Let me do a spend down pitcher, right? There's just things that you can think about or look at when you're running the optimizer.
Yeah, you can kind of play that both ways. You can say, oh, well, I can see how Castillo does and then change. But if you play him, you also are an advantage if he does well and at that point, right? like I wouldn't want to risk if it looks like maybe the Brewers and Cubs have a, I don't know, you put it at like a 70 to 80% chance of playing, but you already have Castillo who did well. Maybe you have some Reds bats who did well. At that point, then you're not going to take the risk, right? You're going to go maybe a more conservative route. I think Musgrove would be, you know, the shockier pitcher. But if you're already doing well, you're less worried about that. And so just, you know, but depending on what you do with that first game, just kind of assess how much risk you want to take on, because it is a slate where it seems like Chicago and not Chicago. Yeah. The Cubs game, like, I don't think we're going to have a definitive answer by the time that game even, you know, is 10 minutes, 5 minutes before lock. So depending on how the early game goes for you, you can decide, you know, maybe I want to take on a lower owned Brewers stack with Peralta to try to catch up if you know, maybe Castillo and the Reds offense does well or whatever it may be. So it is certainly a slate. You know, you started off the show with this, man, going where you have to think, you got to look at what your opponents are doing. If you're playing cash, if you're playing tournaments, you got to look at what the early players did and can you catch guys? How can you catch guys, right? Do you need to take on, you know, like a Giancarlo Stanton or an Aaron Judge have tremendous upside tonight, but they also have a pretty high zero risk in Kauffman Stadium with the strikeout rate and, you know, it being a tough place to hit home runs. So
yeah, a great example of this, DC, is like Nick Diesel was in the chat. And I don't know if it was successful that day, but he was like behind one night and he said, man, like Heaney's pitching against Colorado. He basically said, like, I'm kind of behind and I could maybe get him in cash if I play the Rockies as one-offs to leverage Heaney. And he did that. And that's something maybe you do with the Marlins offense against Joe Musgrove. Now, I'm not saying it's the necessary thing to do, but it's just things that you can look at and think about throughout the slate.
Yeah, it is an unusual slate. We don't usually see just one game that starts 2 hours before all the other games. It almost never happens, right?
Yeah. You don't got to worry about it on FanDuel. You know, you don't got to worry about it over there. So for those of you that play FanDuel, I don't. For those of you that do, though, G. Risen's a big FanDuel guy. You guys could just start the slate a little bit later and you got to worry about this shit.
Yeah, I'll be doing that too as well. So it should be fun. I'm doing Summer League too. We're doing it all tonight, Holden.
Summer League. You're playing a little Summer League action, huh?
NBA Summer League. We got good content over there. So if you want to check that out, go check out the playbook now. RPS NFL 15. We got good stuff.
We got the Summer League playbook up? Yep. I didn't even know we had this. Oh,
Summer League playbook's up. People are in the Discord. They're talking about when lineups get released. It's good times.
Now I got to hold on. What time's locked for that one?
It's at 6, Holden. It's a very time consuming. I'll say this. It's very time consuming, and you have to make sure that you are up on lineups and stuff. Right. But there's a huge edge to it if you grind it out. So
we'll try it tomorrow. I mean, I'm. You guys are gonna make fun of it a little bit, but seriously, NBA Summer League, that's terrific. I want to play some Summer League.
Yeah, to put in perspective, last night there was a guy who was like one of the better plays in the slate, 35% owned. DraftKings had an out tag on him, and he actually played. It was Max Struss, K. Fallick's boy. So there's an edge to be had that there's mistakes being made. But this is a baseball show.
And we don't have to worry about guys getting taken out like 2 minutes before lock. So it's going to be a lot easier than the regular season.
No, that's crazy. It's crazy stuff.
Really?
Yeah. No, that's why it's so profitable. It's absolutely nuts. There's one guy that everyone was on that was in street clothes and everyone thought he was playing. He didn't sign his contract till 25 minutes after lock. It's absolute chaos.
DC, are you playing?
I wasn't planning on it, but I don't know. Might be talked into it.
I don't know if I got time now. I mean, if lock
check for the night slate or something. Okay. We got MLB to do, but it's good times.
Here's something else we do. I didn't even know we did NBA. Listen, you play just about any sport, you're going to get a breakdown. Also, I mean, NASCAR, golf. Oh my God. UFC. DC does shows with title on the weekend. UFC. Any sport, almost any sport you could think of, we got breakdowns for it. So great, best in the biz. I know some of you are like, stop giving the advert. Well, too bad. It's a free show. We're doing the show for you for free. I'm going to say what we need to say. And if you're not going to sign up, well, that's on you. RPS NFL 15. It starts at Big T. It goes to Hoop and JSU. We got our two guys right here. There's a lot more that kick some ass. And on the other side of things, on the bet side, I don't know if you're familiar. Joey Work is behind the scenes today. And I tell these guys this all the time. If you're a bettor, you're going to have an advantage over just some jabroni walking in and not doing anything. There's a correlation between betting and DFS and betting. There he is, Joey Work. This is our MLB guy, one of our MLB guys. We do a show on Sunday. Get bets if you're already a subscriber. What's going on the bet side, Joey Work? Good to see you, pal.
What's going on? I mean, speaking of the summer league, I know somewhat off topic, but Tyler's like 3-1 in bets in the summer league so far. So he's been killing it. Obviously, we got tennis plays up there with JJ and spread all the time. I'm doing baseball, MMA, and Keg's doing MMA and NASCAR. He just killed it with a 4-1 on NASCAR on Sunday. And obviously, we had a very successful Saturday in the UFC as well.
Yeah, good baseball yesterday. RPS NFL 15. If you're already a subscriber, get bets. You know what the promo code is this week for the betting side, Joey? I'll hit up JJ.
I don't think it changes.
It doesn't
Bets
change.
25 off.
Bets 25 off. Bets 25 off for that. Hit a like while you're at it.
Yeah, hit the like button. You know, I'm coming in here. Colton doesn't know we got 600 people watching, 200 likes. Like, what's going on?
How many likes?
200. What's going on here?
All right. Who do you like at pitcher today, Joey?
So I actually I think the I'll give out a free play under first 5 in Yankees game. Basically, they just sent Gleyber Torres just went to the DL as well. So Tyler Wade's going to be in the lineup. That dude's like an automatic out. Hernandez nothing crazy, but I mean this Yankees lineup watered down out of Yankee Stadium now as well. I just don't think many runs are scored. Taillon's been amazing as of late. Steve Boyden even shared he's locating his all-speed pitch, keeping the ball down. So it's really helped the last 2 months. He won Player of the Month last month. Like the guy, he's basically the problem was he's getting no run support, and I expect a little more of that today. So first 5 under 5.5. That number has got betting up. No, and now it's going down.
That call,
yeah, thanks.
And I actually took the Yankees run line tonight, so we'll see how that works out. A lot of us on the Yankees then, but Cheese is on that K prop. So it's a little bit different. And Hoop says RPS NFL 15 works on the bet side. If you're interested in getting a bet side and you're already a sub, Get Bets will get you that. But RPS NFL 15, if you like betting, you want to check it out, 15% off lifetime of your subscription. And that's what we got going on there. And by the way, Joey and I and JJ, we do a show, okay? We do a show every Sunday morning. Around noon, so it's not morning my time, but it's morning my time, but not your time. We have porn stars on. We got cranky old people on. It's just an amazing show. Come on, you like this? We have a good time. We talk shit. We pick winners.
We always have a good time.
Yeah,
Holden talks a little too much crap, but it is what it is.
Maybe a little bit, maybe sometimes. Yeah. All right, let's get to the offenses here. DC, let's start with you. You tell me how you want to handle this Cincy Cleveland game, but outside of that, is there anybody that really stands out besides for the White Sox, maybe the Brewers this evening?
Yeah, I think there's a number of ways you can go. I really like the Reds. I've been on them this last week or two. I mean, they're just on fire right now. It's every night with the Reds that they're teeing off. I don't think Sam Henches and the Cleveland bullpen is going to be the one to slow them down. 90 degrees in Cleveland tonight. I did see someone asked about the weather there. I haven't been concerned about it, but I will at least pull up the radar and kind of check to see if anything's changed. I like the Reds. I really like the White Sox. I mean, the Twins, their pitching's been awful all year. They're playing Bo Burrows. He's as bad as his name sounds. Like, he's just not any good. And this White Sox team getting healthy finally. It's been kind of a remarkable run for them to take control of the Central, missing, they're 2 great young hitters in Eloy Jimenez, who hit 2 home runs last night, and now they get Luis Robert back, who's missed pretty much the whole year. I think this team's about to take off, so I think they're going to do some damage in Minneapolis tonight. So the White Sox, actually my number 1, Reds are 2. Again, the Reds are that early game not available on FanDuel, and then the Yankees, like I said, I mean, just extremely boom or bust here, but I think they do have probably the most upside on the slate, just with how much power they have for DFS purposes. Okay. And then my 4th team, the Brewers, again, weather dependent, but if it does play, I think it's going to be good hitting weather, and Alec Mills not any good. So those are my 4 in order: White Sox, Reds, Brewers, Yankees.
Gardner leading off tonight for the Yankees. They got Velasquez, who's always terrific in AAA, horrible in his shortstop up here.
Not a great lineup.
Wade, Higashioka. So basically, if you're back in the Yankees tonight in DFS, you're hoping Stanton, Judge, and Gallo go off. Maybe Voit, LeMahieu's hitting 5th. It's an interesting lineup here. Mangone, top couple of offenses on the slate, and then we can just break it down position by position and get to some questions. But give me your top offenses this evening.
Yeah, that's a good way to go about it.
Thank
Reds
you.
are definitely in play, right? I explained my reasons why I'm fading them. White Sox, I'd say the top three for me, right, are White Sox. I'd go Yankees, but I don't want to go to them as much. I might even put the Padres at 2 and then the Yankees at 3, mainly because I think there's some value in getting off of the Yankees today and going to some other spots. I'm even looking at like some not crazy one-offs, right? But I'm looking at some bats like in like the Twins game, right? Giolito could easily give up a home run. So look at some power one-offs that are cheap. I don't know if I'll go to DC's boy Trevor Larnach, but I will be looking at some one-offs here and there that are going to be lower owned, right? When you are looking at some one-offs on this slate, I want like the guy that's going to be lower owned. I don't want like a 20% one, right? I'm going to play the White Sox probably today, but I'm going to find a way to make that White Sox stack unique. I'm not just going to plug in like, for instance, a good example is on FanDuel, right? As I was building out my first White Sox stack, I was like, I mean, I'd be a fool to just plug in Tim Anderson, Eloy Jimenez, and like Jose Abreu. It's like, now I just have one guy to make myself a little different, right? Like maybe you only play 2 of the 3. I just have to find ways to make the White Sox stack unique. Maybe it's by playing a guy like Hernandez as my pitcher. Those are things I'm looking to do if I play the White Sox stack, which I'm currently going to be doing, but I need to find the correct route to do that, which again, that's for FanDuel specifically, but it's a good example, and I got some time to figure that out.
Hey, DC, let's go to the White Sox real quick. How you get different with that? Because you look at it, Anderson, Hernandez, Abreu, Jimenez, 1 through 4. Yeah, easy. Can we go to Sevi Zavala, who got most of his production in that 1 3-run home run night? Brian Goodwin has a nice ISO against the right-handers. How do you get a little different with the Sox? Or the Sox?
Yeah. I don't think I would go straight 1 through 5 there, probably including both Goodwin and Luis Robert. I don't know. I mean, he's sitting 7th. He hasn't played in 3 months. So maybe he'll go overlooked. We'll see. Yeah.
Maybe. He was overlooked.
He shouldn't, but maybe.
Okay. Hey, Joey, anything offensively for you? I know you're playing the DFS. You made a nice crossover.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I think Milwaukee, depending on obviously the weather, is the biggest issue. But I like Milwaukee's bats. They get the ball in the air. The wind's blowing out heavy to center. I want no part really of the Yankees because it's really Gallo. Stanton doesn't do shit. Gallo hasn't done anything. It's really, Judge is the only Yankee that I would even think about really putting in there. Maybe LeMahieu, Voit, those 3 really. I'm not really interested in anybody else. Gardner's going to be an automatic out as well. So, and then Chicago, obviously you got to go to the White Sox, especially with Barnes. I guess the primary is Charlie Barnes going, so they're going to score a lot of runs, I think. But otherwise, the other games, I'm not really interested in. Even though the first 3 games, the wind's blowing out at least 10 miles an hour in all of them: Cincinnati, Cleveland, Milwaukee, Chicago, and the Yankees, Kansas City.
Let's do a little position.
Real quick, Holden. I do want to mention if Milwaukee is the team that you can if their game is going to be able to be played, Milwaukee probably jumps to my favorite stack, maybe even over the White Sox.
Me too.
And I might just try and do both. That's my opinion. And I didn't talk about that, and it's worth mentioning. So that's kind of my read on it.
So Milwaukee. Well, we could talk about Milwaukee a little bit more. They're kind of popping. I don't know what your projections say, but they're popping a little bit.
Oh yeah, they're a great play. It's just I want to watch how the weather plays out because people have been. Big T talks about this all the time. Like people have been building lineups all day, right? It's like no one's plugging in Milwaukee guys right now. At least I don't think so, right? DC, like that's why I think that weather is super important and matters a ton. I mean, so that's definitely an offense that if for some reason there was no weather today, everyone would be on. Everyone would be talking up Milwaukee and how great of a play they are. And I think people are ignoring it more right now because of the weather.
Yeah. I mean, people are. I think you're right. The more we talk, the more I think that there is probably an edge to maybe fading that first game and just seeing what shakes out in the other 4 games. Right? Makes a lot of sense. I really, really like the Reds here, and I like Castillo too. So I don't think I'm going to stick with that, but makes all the sense in the world, right? To see what transpires in that first game, make the risk assessment in the Cubs-Brewers game, and then there's plenty of options. 4 games left after Cincinnati and Cleveland to kind of figure out where you're at and which direction you want to go.
Okay. Guys, we got about 15 minutes left in the show, 15 minutes to lock. So if you want to get some questions in, go for it. So I just checked it out. 500 watching, 238 likes. Man, go and tell them something about the likes. I'm done with it.
Get the likes up because I'm busy trying to find summer league lineups for the 6 o'clock lock, and I don't want to have to be yelling at you guys while I'm digging for like the dumbest things in the world over here to try and help the people out. So hit the like, hit the subscribe on the video so you don't miss out on Joey Work giving you free winners all week long because he's going to be here all week.
Yeah, he is.
Don't want to miss on that. You don't want to miss on all the great content that we have over here at Run Pure Sports. So that's why you should hit the like. That's why you should hit the subscribe.
Now that's how you do it. That's how you tell people to do it. Is Tyler Wade starting?
Yes.
Yeah, he's starting tonight. So go for it, pal. How about this? And I've got a new slogan for RPS. If you don't want to hit the like, don't be a dick. Okay, just don't be a dick. Just hit like and we're all good. Position by position, you want to give me a player or two, guys, that we can look at here today? We'll start at catcher. I do want to hustle a little bit, see if we can get some plays here. But if you're not going in your stacks today, DC, give me a catcher.
Yeah, I think Stevenson is the best play. Gets a lefty hitting fifth in that Reds lineup. Again, that game starts in 15 minutes now. But look at who he's hitting behind. I mean, Winker is a 400 OBP guy. Castellanos, same thing. And then Joey Votto, constantly on base. Like, I think he's going to have, throughout the course of this game, 5, 6, 7 guys on base with a chance to drive them in. So he just needs one big hit. Catcher, a rough position today. Stevenson, clearly my number one, and then Omar Narvaez number 2. Again, weather cooperating in Chicago.
All right, what do you think there, Mangone?
I'm like, there's summer league stuff. I'm sorry, my bad. Go to Joey real quick. I'm trying to help people out in the chat. Paying subscribers.
All right, so what do you want? What's the question?
I mean, I'm just very disappointed right now, to be honest with you. Commit to the bit, Mangone. Commit to the bit.
It's gonna
give me
be
some
right.
One-offs, Joey. Who do you know what? It's not just catcher. Give me some one-offs.
Can you put
Mangone in timeout since you can do that now, since he doesn't want to join in the conversation?
I can actually. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Bye, Travis.
See ya.
Yeah, that's why I like StreamYard. Put the dude in timeout. The guy's not even listening to the show. He's helping that. All right. What do you like today? You got any one-offs that you're liking? Not just catcher, like overall.
Yeah, Jesus Aguilar.
Okay.
The guy's got great. He's got great BVP versus Musgrove. He's hit, I think, 3 dongs versus him in 9 at bats. Their team total sneaky 2.5, real low there, in San Diego. So I'm kind of interested in him. Another one. I mean, I guess Framil Reyes. The wind's blowing out there. He's got power. Castillo's, susceptible for a bomb or two.
Is Mangone asking to come back on, or is he really doing summer league stuff?
I don't know. I can't hear him. He's backstage.
Yeah.
Get him back in here.
This is what I'm going to say. Honestly, Joey is the exact guy that I currently have on my FanDuel team, right? He said Aguilar, right? Because of the BVP is good. On top of that, it's leverage against Musgrove a bit. So one of my best hits this year was when I literally played $90. I went out to dinner with friends. Like one of the nights I just didn't do much research. And I said, Vincent Velasquez is chalk on a 3-game slate. Sign me up for like Garrett Cooper at like 5% or whatever. Now, Garrett Cooper didn't hit any home runs off Velasquez. What happened is Velasquez got scratched, so that hurt a lot of people. And I got the Phillies bullpen game, right? So that leverage, though, of a 5% guy that put me over the top was big. So I was looking for, okay, who's the highest owned pitcher on the slate? Is there a guy that grades out really well if I want to later on that's going to be like 5%? I saw it was the Marlins again. It treated me well. And Aguilar was the guy I looked at, especially on FanDuel where catcher first base, I feel like he'll go under own. So that's a guy that Joey Work has me covered because he knows what a winner is, Holden.
No, I mean, I get it, but you've been asked to do this show and you're sitting here doing NBA Summer League. It's just, it's disappointing is all I can say. Izzy, you're right. Odds that Mangone got a timeout before Holden was plus 50,000.
True.
I don't think there's any doubt.
The worst part is I just got a timeout for not paying attention when Holden never pays attention.
I have paid attention all show.
True.
All show I have paid attention.
No, you haven't, because you asked DC if his favorite pitcher, who was Peralta your favorite pitcher on the slate? Someone in chat
you keep the notes, Mangone? You keep the notes over here?
Peralta was the number 1 pitcher because
Did that happen? Did that happen?
Yeah, I'm always going to side with Mangone. So
God
yes.
damn it! You guys.
Holden, you look a little blue over there. I don't know if it's my monitor or
I
what's
gotta
going
get a new
on.
camera. I'll just charge it to Hoop. Hoop will have to pay for it. That's fine. You guys got any questions in chat, or are you just gonna talk about Mangone and everything like that?
I can mention one thing that I think is interesting on this slate. I mean, we haven't really got to the position by position too much. But shortstop is really like, especially on FanDuel, right? And on the DK slate too, if you faded the early game, shortstop is a disaster. So one way to maybe make the White Sox act different is like fading Tim Anderson, and it's super scary and it's not the safest thing to do in the world, but shortstop is gross. Obviously, Willy Adames is a guy that I like, and if we get him, I think that's the guy I'm going to go to, but shortstop is a disaster. If you take Adames off the slate, and I'm looking at FanDuel, right? And the same thing basically as DK.
Cronenworth is a play.
Yeah, Cronenworth there, so that's one guy you can go to. But who wants to pay for Cronenworth? But it's like Miguel Rojas, Jorge Polanco, who's not in like the greatest fight, though he has been mashing. Alcantara, Nicky Lopez, Andrelton Simmons, Garcia, even Tyler Wade. Like punting the position to get some bigger bats in your lineup and hoping Anderson just fails is not like a terrible strategy on this slate. I think it's something that I'm going to look to employ.
Well, we got a whole bunch of amateur meteorologists today. Just fade every game, I guess, is what the thing is. Too much sun somewhere, fade it. If there's any clouds, fade it.
By the way, we got the Padres lineup. We got Pham, Frazier, Machado, Cronenworth, Hosmer, Myers, Grisham, Caratini, and Musgrove.
Yeah, what do you think of it?
I mean, it's not the greatest, but there's
that's about as good as they can do. So yeah.
Okay.
I mean, would you be shocked if like you played like Trent Grisham over Aaron Judge and like Grisham homered and Judge didn't? Like it wouldn't shock me. And of course, I'm sure Grisham's not owned.
We really haven't talked about the Padres much, but they can certainly do damage here.
We'll talk about them, DC. Let's go. You see the lineup now. You just read it off. What do you do with the Padres this evening?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of think they're with the injury to Tatis, right? Because he's so popular on typical slates that he just kind of draws in more ownership in general, because people like to stack, obviously, and Tatis is the main piece there. But I think there are several good plays here. Cronenworth, I think, is by far the best shortstop play on the slate. Tim Anderson is there too, but Cronenworth much cheaper. And I like Adam Frazier a lot. Again, not the highest upside guy, but you can play him, I think, at second base or outfield, hitting second in that lineup. Thompson I kind of like him a little bit, but tough spot here going from Miami to San Diego against a team, that needs to win. So, yeah, Cronenworth, Frazier, my top two guys. But if you want to go with the full stack there, I think you'll get them very, very low owned, and they've got upside, no question.
Hey, Joey, you're nodding over there. You like the Padres a little bit, or some pieces of it tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I expect runs there. Miami's finally leaving their hard-ass stadium for bats, and if they're under over set at 2.5 here. Like, they're not going to score 3 runs. They scored 3 runs they played 8 games in August. They scored 3 runs in 7 of them.
I think their team total's too low. I agree.
And you get 9 innings, right? So you get an extra 3 outs too with being on the road. So there's value in that as well.
My only concern, and it may not even be valid here, I don't like picking on teams coming out of Coors. It's just personally.
That's understandable.
I've been burned quite a few times on that, especially the Rockies. Like the Rockies' first game against Coors, just bet against them, bet the team total under. It's just garbage, Joey. So I mean, that's a concern of mine, but that shouldn't be. Is that what you're saying tonight? It's like not a big deal.
I mean, that's understandable, but there's always going to be a little concern when you're betting anything.
Okay.
But 2.5. When was the last time we seen a team total as low as 2.5?
Yeah,
there's slim pickings on that number, and they got like decent BVP versus Musgrove, and Musgrove, has somewhat struggled. Obviously, he's pitched good as of late, but he has somewhat struggled since they limited this sticky stuff. So I'm going to take my chances there.
Okay. Yep. All right. So the Padres and then the Marlins. Marlins maybe not as much DFS.
Correct.
On the betting side.
Correct.
But we got that. Guys, just get your final one-offs, plays of the day ready. And for those of you, the subscribers in the live show chat, so the subs that are watching right now, go in the live show chat where you normally do, ask us the questions, and we'll get to your questions first before anybody else. So I know Big T was in there. Draft Cheat's been posting some stuff too, but if you got any questions, you want to get them out there, Get him out there right now. Do you like Trent Grisham from the 502? There you go. Trent Grisham. Anybody?
Solid play. Yep.
Yeah. Totally.
Does he? I mean, does Holden get a timeout for not listening when I went on a Trent Grisham, Aaron?
It was a question.
I mean, that's how we started the Padres conversation.
It was a question. Somebody else wasn't listening.
Oh, okay.
Maybe when you talk, people just don't listen. Maybe that's the problem.
It could be it. But yes,
who's your favorite? All right, DC. Who's your favorite 2 Reds bats? That's from Self Uncontrolled. Never seen him before. What up, Self Uncontrolled?
Yeah, the three righties in the top 5. Castellanos would be number 1. India, and then Stevenson. Stevenson, I think, is by far the best catcher. So I really like all 3 guys. Okay. So yeah, pick 2 of those 3.
Guys, let's do our plays of the day. I don't even know what they're calling your plays of the day anymore. Mangone, maybe it's the NBA Summer League play of the day. What do you got for us today?
I mean, do you want an NBA Summer League?
No, I'd rather have a baseball play. But if you want to give a NBA Summer League, go for it.
I'll give you both. How's that?
I like it.
Baseball play, and I'll give you the NBA Summer League. Let's start with the NBA Summer League play, right? And it's an easy one. It seems simple, but the way the slate works, maybe people don't play him because he's in the late night hammer as well. He also works for the late slate if you'd like to sign up for it. But Jalen Smith is the Suns superstar. He is the guy. They're developing him. He made 5 shots last night, played 30 minutes, and had 32 fantasy points. I mean, the guy did not play well, 5 for 14, and still crushed it. So that'll be your NBA Summer League play of the day, Holden. And people, they might jam in other guys because, this guy's starting, this guy's starting. No, my spot is saved for Jalen Smith. I'm playing him unless some crazy news happens in the Summer League. And then my baseball play as a one-off that I think is a really good option. I'm not going to go to DC's boy, Trevor Larnach, but I will go to another lefty that I think he's just going to be super low owned on this slate. I think he has upside. He's got a little BVP. I think he's like 9 for 28 against Giolito, and Giolito can give up some home runs. I'm going to go with Max Kepler. He's going to be a guy that if I just play him as like one of my one-offs, and I think these slates are good slates to build these weird like 3-3-2 kind of stacks, or even like maybe a 4-3-1. Max Kepler is a great one-off where if the White Sox win like 7-2, and that would not shock me, Max Kepler easily can hit one of those home runs. So I'm going to go with that as my play of the day.
DC Mom's Basement play of the day. What do you got?
I'll go with Jake Cronenworth, hitting cleanup for the Padres tonight. Shortstop, as we've talked about a few times, just a brutal position. I think Cronenworth, and I don't know, Mangone's throwing some shade at Jake Cronenworth. Who wants to play Jake Cronenworth? I do. This guy can hit.
I like Jake Cronenworth. I would say Trevor Larnach. I said, isn't that the one I made fun of? I think Cronenworth.
Yeah, you always make fun of Trevor Larnach, but
I always think
he deserves it. Jake Cronenworth does not.
Jake Cronenworth is a good play today, DC, and you brought up some great points with him. And like even on like a site like a FanDuel, right? Like you can play him in a lot of different positions, and that can make you unique alone, right? Like people don't love to pay for Jake Cronenworth. He's just not a guy you typically spend your money on when you can spend on Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton. So I like the call.
Joey, what do you got today? Who's your play, buddy?
Give me Jesus Aguilar. I mean, he's on the graphic. He's got good VVP versus Musgrove. I mean, he's probably low owned because not many people be on the Marlins over here. So give me Jesus.
All right. I like that. I'm just going to go with a little Tyone action today. I'll keep it simple. Tyone's my guy. Get a little pushback here in the chat for it, but that's fine. That's my guy. CC Kings, DC, Cronenworth as a one-off or Farmer in my red stack.
I would probably complete the red stack there. That's typically my lean. But, choosing between the two, I'd take Cronenworth. But if you got 3 or 4 of the reds, I would go with Farmer.
Yeah. The one pitcher on who's your one pitcher on FanDuel? I mean, kind of gave that out already, but
yeah, I'm rolling Peralta if the weather looks like it's going to hold.
Peralta.
But
what about Mangone?
Yeah, I've gone back and forth because obviously the Peralta thing is important, but I think Musgrove is my favorite, but I am trying to work on a Carlos Hernandez build that I think is interesting. And then if that doesn't work, I think I might go to Tyon if I can get a Tyon lower owned than Musgrove. Like pitcher might be the way I make it a little unique today. I'm still working through it, but those are the 3 I'm kind of looking at. DC, I saw this question in chat earlier, and I just figured let's talk about it now. Peralta, do you have any worry on the pitch count? I see a lot of people talking about that. And I don't know if you addressed it and I missed it, but I saw a ton of people asking that question.
Yeah, I mean, a slight concern, but I don't think they're going to jerk him around on start to start, right? So they kind of scaled him back to, I mean, he was rolling through 4 scoreless innings. They removed him after, what was it, like 50 pitches? Then they went up to 68, I think, and then it was 98, something like that. And maybe the exact numbers are wrong, but basically that. And now I think they're going to let him maybe roll for a few starts here and then scale him back again. And that's how the Brewers are choosing to control their pitchers' innings. So I think he should be good to go for the tonight. Again, not a 100% thing, but I think if I had to put a number on it, 85, 90%, he's a full go tonight.
I agree with DC because they were running out a 6-man rotation for a little bit.
Yeah.
That's why they had, like, basically they piggybacked starters on top of each other, but now they're back to, it looks like 5-man rotation. So
I think he'll be a full go. I wouldn't worry about it.
Another thing that I look at sometimes when you're looking at guys on pitch counts, I like to look at the umpire to see, like, okay, well, will that affect him, or are you worried about that if it could get high? And then I also like to look at, like, the walk rates, right? Because if it's like a team that maybe they're not going to walk a ton, maybe you can get through them a lot cleaner and faster, then it's another, like, we're all talking about probabilities, right? And there is a chance maybe they pull them. Now, I don't think that they do, like you guys say, because I trust what you say, but I like to also look at if I have outs and opportunities where it's not going to hurt me. And the Cubs feel like a team where if Peralta did go deeper, right, like they're not a team that's going to hurt him as much where they keep him in longer. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Good job, guys. We got the show in. So listen, when it's all said and done, we'll have about 1,300 viewers. We're at 256 likes. So, just be nice. Get us as close to 300 as you can. Want to remind everybody, RPS NFL 15% off the life of your subscription. As long as you're live and we're around, you're getting 15% off your subscription every single month. So RPS NFL 15 for that. We got a 5-game baseball slate. We got 5 weeks until Monday Night Football. So it's going to be terrific. I'm really looking forward to this NFL thing, but we still got baseball, and I'm telling you, Joey Work over here, as much as ball busting as we do on each other, the guy has been spectacular. He's tracked, and get ready for the playoffs, because last year, what was it again? 6-1, 7-0 in the World Series. What was your pick?
6-1. No, 5-1 because they only play 6 games, right?
Yep. And then we all got to flip that money over and play NFL with it. So it was pretty good. If you're already a subscriber, get bets. Okay. RPS NFL 15 for everything else. Mangone, good luck in the summer league tonight. I'm not kidding. I'm serious.
Sign up, Holden. Let's see. There's got to be a late slate. No, you could do the late slate. I mean, you can
How
get
many
in
games?
there. Let's look, Holden. Let's see. But the one thing I gotta say, Holden, and I don't know if the edibles, what time they kick in for you, but
I'm not taking them tonight.
Like at 8, like every hour, you kind of have to give a look at the Discord at 8:45, 8:50. Like if you're gonna plan to maybe go grab some food, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe you're gonna have a quick session with the lady. What you got to do, Holden, is you got to make sure it's not around the lock of the next game. That's all.
You
so
never
you just
got
have
the
to plan
COVID
your
from
night
me.
accordingly. That's all.
Yeah. She never got the COVID from me. It's fascinating. DC, what do you got going on tonight?
Not a lot, man. Just watching some baseball. I got a podcast with Uncle T. Always an exciting Monday night activity.
Oh, God. Give the plug for the podcast, even though Uncle T's on it.
Yes, the plug for the podcast. It's a podcast that you can find on any podcast app. Just search Run for Your Sports, and we're talking baseball every day.
And Uncle T and me and G Risen are launching our Old Guys podcast here within the next few weeks. So I'm looking forward to that. Holden, join us at RPS for Underdog Best Ball Draft tonight. Not happening, pal. Not happening tonight. No best ball draft tonight. Got to move on.
What about preseason DFS, Holden? I won my first slate, so I'm 1-0.
I did too. Yeah. I did well.
Yeah, you've been playing the NFL preseason? Have you been on?
I love I'm not even kidding when I say this. It's like one of the better things that I do. All it is following news. That's it.
That's what NBA Summer League is. That's
okay, then good. I'm going to play it.
News, Holden.
Then I'm going to play it. I'll play it. Boy, Uncle T. Uncle T, you just wait, buddy. A few weeks. I'll be talking to you again. Joey, thanks for running this behind the scenes, dude. We'll see you tomorrow, definitely. For DC and Mangone. Oh, guess what we get to say today? Joey, do you want to say to yourself, Joey, get us out of here? Joey, get us out of here.